Hello, everybody. This is Narada Rishi Raja with expeditiousfool.com, where we remove the obstacles by sticking to our DMP, daily mindfulness practice. Let's get started. This is the advice from the Gita for the day. So let's see what Krishna has to tell us today. We get beyond religion. So before I go into the verse here, I'll talk about the picture here for a second. This is Drupadi. And the Pandavas, they lost a bet that got out of hand, and it was actually rigged against their favor. But the head brother of them lost the bet, and he lost the wife, which is Drupadi here. And to add further insult to injury, they brought the wife down in front of the entire court, and they were going to strip her. Right? You see that there. And all of this, she looked around. She looked first to her husband. She had 5 husbands, which is an interesting story, how that happened. But she has 5 husbands. All of them are these fierce warriors, really, really high in stature. So she goes down. She's not afraid because she looks to them and to help her, and they bow their head. She looks to the ruler to help. He bows his head. She looks to the sages to help. And they just turn away. Because, according to the Dharma, the religion at that moment, the law at that time, we'll put it that way, it was all acceptable, right? Well, it wasn't acceptable. It's not okay. So that's one of those situations where getting lost in the details can be destructive for many, many people. Yes, there are rules and there are things that we want to do, but getting lost in those details, that can be destructive. It's much more loose. It's more fluid than that, the whole process, our whole experience. So let's get into the verse here. So the verse here we have is chapter 18, verse 65 and 66. This is, if I remember correctly, Arjuna asking, Krishna summarizing, and Arjuna asking, what if they can't do those things? He just explained the different yogas and how to do it. So, and Krishna says, think of me always, be my devotee, sacrifice to me and bow down to me. Do this and you will come to me. I promise you this truth. You are dear to me. Give up all other duties and varieties of religion and simply surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sin, so have no fear. So he's basically saying that if you can't do anything else, always think of Krishna. And in this case, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by Supreme Personality, I do mean personality as far as the more we can model in that understanding, right? And so think of me always. It's also that Godhead. So if you always focus and keep your attention there, always, great things happen in your life. It says, I shall deliver you from all sin. Now, because of a lot of religious trauma, we get a little jumpy when we hear that, but we have to just look at the term for what it actually is. Sin means to miss the mark. It's an archery term. So deliver you from all sin. So yeah, when you're able to think of God's source, however you define it, always, then you're delivered from sin. Because what happens is you completely get out of the way. The ego mind, the limbic system, That's what that is. The limbic system is no longer in the way. It's so the mind is able to function completely fine. And guess what? It doesn't need words to do that. If you don't believe me, practice and focus with japa for a day straight, one whole day. And by japa is repetition of the name of the Lord. Again, whatever you want to say. It can be Ram. Ram is a very powerful one vibrationally. It's linguistically better than using the word God. And Ram actually sums up a bunch. It's not like one entity. It's a bunch of them that all make up different aspects of. But whatever it is that you call God source. But repeat it over and over and over again. It could be Jesus, whatever it is, right? But repeat it over and over again, and that's it. That's all you do, is say that throughout your head. But go throughout your day, still doing everything like you do it. Go to work, talk to people, and when you're not speaking in the moment, in your head, that japa over and over and over again. Do that for one full day. If you can do that for one full day, I guarantee you'll see what I'm talking about. What happens is you realize that all of those things just happen. You didn't need your brain for much of that. Our brains are only there to create chemical homeostasis, and the thoughts either reinforce or resist something that is already happening. And we give it too much credit, and that's the whole process of yoga, to eliminate that. And the more and more we can think of this God source and we can put our focus that direction first versus survival first, material first, when we put it there first, then we move in a much, much higher way. And that's what that's talking about. Because sometimes the religion of the time, it can seem right, but deplorable things can happen. So it's much, much higher than that. So it's not always about the intellectual thought and how we can reason it out and we can go, well, it looks like here that, that's acceptable. He can do that because he won her fair and square. No. If there's a rule that someone can win somebody else, then maybe that rule got a little bit too confused, right? All right, everybody. I hope that this helps. I hope that the Gita you are drawing closer and closer to is that wonderful song of the Lord. I will be doing a Bhagavad Gita workshop for those local that is completely free of charge. I've put it out to my social media community. Nobody's jumped on that quite yet, but I have a couple other ideas to try and get some people engaged in that. So I'll keep you all posted on that. Have a great day on purpose and stay mindful, everyone. Namaskaram.